Sangeeta and Sajana are taking a huge step, a life-changing step here in Kathmandu that will secure them a vastly different future to what their parents expected or even hoped for. They are going to school.
Some pictures are good here. Have you seen this picture ever? No one?
Sangeeta and Sujana are learning to read and write because of the Mitrata Foundation that is helping children all over Nepal, some in tiny villages and high mountains, some in larger city schools like theirs. Mitrata was begun by a young Australian lawyer, Rebecca Ordish, and her husband Adam. When they first came to Nepal several years ago, doing volunteering work, they found a family sheltering in a school at night, helped them and supported a child from that family to actually attend school. Within a week, there were 20 families asking for their help in a country where poverty and child labour is the norm, a country with a devastatingly low literacy rate, especially among girls and women. Rebecca and Adam saw a great need, and the Mitrata Foundation was born.
I think the literacy rate in Nepal as a whole is only around 50%, which puts it in the bottom 20 countries in the world. But even worse than that, it's about, when you break it into gender, it's about 63% of men, but only about 35% of women are literate. So, you know, that feeds into a whole host of other problems. And so many studies have shown that if you provide education for women and or for girls, that it really does flow through and it helps the GDP of the country. It improves situations such as family planning control and that kind of thing.
Nepal, known for the highest mountain in the world, the stunning Mount Everest, is mainly a rural society and is a very poor country. Only 7% of children will reach the school leaving certificate, the majority being boys, who are favoured over their sisters in receiving education at all. So why would I come to Kathmandu? And how does this link to Mitrata and these children? As a children's writer and poet, I had a dream of children connecting through the arts. I was inspired by Japanese artist Hokusai's spiritual intent with his 100 views of the sacred Mt Fuji. So I designed workshops for teachers to help their children celebrate their own place 100 times with their chosen icon, be it a mountain, a beach, or local architecture. And reaching into the magic of technology, share their place across suburbs, state lines, and even countries far away. How transforming this could be. Children all over, connecting through the arts. I very much wanted to volunteer my time as a writer with my 100 Views program. It was Rebecca Ordish who saw the possibilities for Nepali schools, where rote learning still prevails. Over months of talks and emails, along with her husband Adam, 100 Views Kathmandu became a reality. With 3 days of teacher workshops, I would take the poetry, and my lifelong friend and artist Pat Granville-Smith would take the art. Teachers, in turn, would use these radical ideas to encourage more creative thinking and expression in their own classrooms, and help children celebrate their own community. You know, I'm a writer. I write children's books and have been doing so for about 30 years. And I've started this program in school, which is a literacy program about poetry, but part of that's art as well. And a community chooses an icon, and here they've chosen Mount Everest. And then the teachers and the kids celebrate the icon by writing about it, painting it, and maybe interviewing people in the community about it. So technology comes into that too. And I'll teach the poetry and Pat's going to teach the art. Pat and I are overwhelmed by arrival in Kathmandu. The noise and action of the streets, bustling with life, and the difficulties we found after buying in saying no, no, no to a bewildering array of goods.
You're going to start your workshop from tomorrow morning. How do you feel?
I'm not nervous about presenting because I've done it so many times, but I must say, as Pat said, the language problem, given English is a second language, I think that I'm just worried that I won't be able to get as much over as I normally could. Although I've been reassured they're enthusiastic teachers, so that will help a lot. Tomorrow's the big day. Sangeeta and Sujana's teachers are coming to school to work on this new program. All they know is that it's a celebration of the arts and community in Kathmandu and has at its heart as their icon the majestic Mount Everest, or as they call it, the pride of Nepal. 100 Views Kathmandu is really due to a chance meeting I had with Rebecca in Darjeeling.
I met Libby in India on a writing retreat, and she was telling me about the 100 Views program, and it fitted in so perfectly with the work we're doing with teachers, because in Nepal it's all very much rote learning and it's very much teacher focused. I'll talk, kids listen and repeat, and we wanted to, a lot of our work is really trying to get the teachers to think and teach in a different way, more learner focused education, creative education.
After she saw my children's books, she told me about the Mitrata Foundation in Nepal and its work in helping children, often out of lives of gruelling labour, of how the art of reading could radically change their lives, and of how they were looking at ways to enhance teaching practices. I told her about the schools taking part in the 100 Views program in Australia, Bondi Beach, Maroubra Junction, Bronte and Clovelly primary schools, with more schools in the Randwick area to begin, and my hopes for many more schools.
Libby was telling me about 100 Views, which is all about creativity and the arts and community and all of those wonderful icons which Nepal is so full of. I just thought it fitted in so perfectly with the work that we do. So I managed to convince Libby to come up here and help us run the program.
Rebecca was intrigued by the core idea of 100 Views and invited me to Nepal on the spot, and I volunteered on the spot.
Okay, good morning. Namaste. We've got two very special guests who've come all the way from Sydney to talk to you, which is really exciting. So this is Libby, and this is Pat.
So Libby, you're about to start the workshop.
I am, yes. Well, I'm feeling, very excited actually to be here in Kathmandu doing a poetry workshop. It's pretty wonderful, but just a little bit apprehensive that I'll remember to speak slowly and clearly.
Jesse, Joe's have joggers, I have joggers, brand new joggers, I have joggers too. Good. Give yourselves a clap. Very good.
Yes, we could encourage the 20 teachers with a very different approach to their own highly formal process, encourage creative thinking through the arts by the series of workshops.
Okay.
Rhitar, this one?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Could be sweet, could be bitter, could be sour.
Very good.
Coming this way. Walking. That's it. Walking. Now put your hand up there. Feeling. Bend your head a little bit towards your hand. Breathing in deeply. Breathe in. In. There's a lot to learn about this remarkable couple. They have so many stories, but one in particular stays in my mind, about a young girl indentured from the country for domestic service, mainly washing up for a restaurant. She was so small they stood her on a stool to do this. Her future in servitude would have been inevitable if it hadn't been for the foundation Adam and Rebecca set up. This little girl can now read, and that makes all the difference. Officially a Hindu country, there's a blending of Hindu and Buddhist in Nepal. Sometimes to the extent in Kathmandu, people of different religions may even worship at the same temple. Religion and ritual play an important part in Nepali life. Striking architecture and craftwork are evident in stupa and temple alike, as well as in the lively marketplaces to be found at any bend in the road. But many families here struggle with poverty on a daily basis. Rebecca and Adam, like so many tourists, first fell in love with Kathmandu, but they're still working here because of the need and because they saw ways of being able to make a difference, especially with girls and women and education.
The first project we ever did when we first started was just simply providing scholarships for kids to go to school. So I think as of this year we're looking at around 100 girls with scholarships to study in school. So that's one of the main things we do. We also do a lot of teacher training programs, particularly focusing on showing teachers different methods of teaching that might tap into the different skills and talents that children might have. So it's not just reading and reciting and that kind of thing. As of this year, we've also launched a really exciting new project called Daisy Chains, which is going to be a literacy and numeracy program for uneducated women. And we're taking 500 women and we're giving them literacy, numeracy and basic business mentoring skills. We're also going to give them a small loan so that they can start up their own businesses, and we're going to give them some ongoing support to make sure that happens. And in terms of sustainability, once their businesses are up and running, they're going to be paying the money back into a fund so that the next group of women can start as well. So that's a very ambitious project we're looking at doing, but should be fantastic as well.
South America, New Zealand.
Just how well will 100 Views link to literacy and the arts for Nepali children?
Too many rats come, too many...
Hokusai the artist undertook a daunting task by drawing 100 views of his icon, Mt Fuji. This became a miraculous gift for us, a snapshot of the Japanese way of life in the 1800s. I realised schools are the ideal place to celebrate community with 100 views. 100 poems, artworks, local interviews. With this, we can get a snapshot of the way of life in the 21st century, but this time through children's eyes. I was fortunate in the principal Maria Hardy of Bondi Beach Primary, who unhesitatingly undertook to trial the program with iconic Bondi Beach as their focus, and then other enthusiastic principals and teachers who came on board. While we were trialling our first 100 views, another vital step was being taken. With the help of a Melbourne-based digital marketing company, Next Digital, and the voluntary work as producer of Lisa Hathorn, we created a unique 100 Views website to showcase children's efforts. The dream of engaging school communities around the world was beginning to take shape. A way of bringing children together to engender understanding, pride, peace and harmony is maybe a tall order, but it is possible. And along with it, they should have fun.
June have joggers, Jacqueline, Janice and June have joggers, Aunt Juliet Joan has joggers, Grandma Jay has...
This Nepali school is the first international connection in the 100 Views program. And since Hokusai, my inspiration, had Mt Fuji as his inspiration, it's thrilling that theirs is Mount Everest. In our first encounter with 20 teachers, our very real apprehension soon melted away with their enthusiasm.
They say, so see what are loses, so unfair.
My expectation was, well, I must say that, I woke very early this morning, went over the workshop, and I was worried, particularly about the language and the pace that I speak, because, you get excited about poetry and then you start to speak really fast. And I had to keep reminding myself to slow down. But the minute I saw their shining faces, the smiling faces, that's a great indicator that things are going okay. When teachers laugh or smile or look at you intently, I think, it's going to work all right. And so it did.
धेरै डर लागेको थियो पहिला किनभने म एउटा न्यू हो आर्ट गर्नलाई मलाई थाहा छैन त्यसको पछि मैले सोचेको थिएँ धेरै अब उ गरेर सबै एकदम लाइन मिलाएर गर्नुपर्छ हैन त्यो गर्नुपर्ने रहेछ जो आफ्नो भित्रको फिलिङ्स हैन त्यो कसरी निक्लिन्छ त्यो मेन चीज रहेछ यहाँनेर मित्रता फाउन्डेसनले हामीले यो दियो हैन अब त्यो चीजमा धेरै डिफरेन्ट पाएँ मैले अरु सजिलो पनि लाग्यो आफ्नो एक्सप्रेसन मैले त्यहाँ उसमा जाहिर गर्न सके लेख्न सके हैन ड्र गर्न सके
I was concerned about the language, and they participated really well. And as I say, when I think they didn't quite understand things, they didn't mind being corrected.
I expected that this workshop would really be wonderful, beneficial and interesting, and I found it the same. I myself also gained some knowledge about poetry, about art, painting and so on.
It's wonderful to be working with teachers in another country, knowing they'll help make more connections. They'll be painting the icon and exploring creative thinking through poetry. But importantly, their students in doing this will be able to show something to the world, aspects of the way of life here and now, to be shared with children far away. Pat found the art workshops challenging at first, given the lack of experience of some teachers.
I understand that an awful lot of the people in the class yesterday hadn't really ever used a paintbrush before. It isn't something that they are normally doing, so under those circumstances I think they did very well.
पेन्टिङ मा जस्तो कि धेरै कुरा सिक्न पाएँ कलरसँग कसरी खेल्ने कसरी कलर प्राइमरी कलर र सेकेन्डरी कलर कसरी मिक्स गर्ने अनि त्यो मिक्स गरेर के कस्तो कलर निस्किन्छ त्यसको हामीलाई आज धेरै राम्रो अनुभव भयो
आज मैले यो हाम्रो 100 भ्यूज जुन हाम्रो माउन्ट एभरेस्ट आइकनको रूपमा हामीले लिएका छौं यसलाई ब्याकग्राउन्डमा राखेर एउटा सानो गाउँको एउटा चाहिँ सामान्य पिक्चर मैले स्केच गरेँ सोचे भन्दा पनि एकदम फार बेटर हामीले चाहिँ यसलाई महसुस गर्न राम्रो भएको छ
Already, just from speaking to the teachers after the workshops and things, they keep saying things like, I've never experienced this kind of thing before. We even had one teacher who'd never held a paintbrush before. So not only looking forward to how they're going to deal with the students, it really is giving the teachers just a whole new experience in terms of the things that they can do to make learning fun and interesting for children.
We measure, isn't it? Your height also, from top to the bottom. You measure your height, isn't it?
Hatch me a riddle. Here's a funny one.
For my part, aspects of poetry writing, the magic of metaphor, as well as the importance of the 5 senses in helping children express their experience of the world, are being well received. Over the days, I'm noticing too that the participants are gaining confidence.
But everybody but you, I think. You're the loser, so...
Yes, you don't have
So
to say.
the 3 of you.
No, the thing we have to give stress on the loser word, isn't it?
Loser, yes, I think. So try one more time, but that echo was lovely. Maybe just at the beginning.
And while teachers are working their way through the planned workshops, something really exciting is about to happen for Sangeeta and Sujana. Few schools here have the technology for what is about to happen. In some lucky village schools, there are hand-cranked computers. But here we're fortunate to have the luxury of electricity, as long as it doesn't go down, as is often the case. It's quite thrilling that these 2 little girls are about to make contact with Australia, and Sarah, a student of Bondi Beach Public School, the first international connection.
Lots of different activities. We do arts, dance, music, band, and even violin. What about you?
Okay, so this year, which sports are you going to play? Yeah.
Badminton. Badminton.
Only badminton? Yeah, the school here are going to do Mount Everest as their icon. Okay, say bye-bye, girls.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Talk again soon.
Child to child and teacher to teacher, with promises of emails, pen pals, even visits. And all through the unstinting work of Mitrata, the brainchild of Rebecca and Adam Ordish.
The slogan for the foundation is a friendship that will last forever, and that means a friendship between Australia and Nepal. So obviously working so much with schools and with the advances in internet technology and things like that, we're trying to look at ways where we can connect school children in Nepal with their brothers and sisters in Australia basically, and have some kind of cultural exchange going on, which will be an amazing experience for both sides.
A 100 Views Kathmandu is ready to launch. So how did the workshops go?
Yeah, things look good. I'd love to spend a lot more time with them, and then they'd really, you'd be able to see them doing different work.
I would like to request our Santi ma'am and Libby ma'am to inaugurate the program by cutting the ribbon.
We are very happy today because it is very nice opportunity for us. In the beginning, we could not do anything, but now what we have realized that everybody can write the poems very easily, because in the beginning I used to think that writing poem and drawing pictures, that is just for killing the time, just to pass the time. That only I used to think, but I think that the poetry and the art is creation, it is discovery, it is everything, because we can learn many things from the poetry. Therefore, we are very happy. I think we will be helping the student very effectively. Thank you very much. Thank you. Just I have written 1 or 2 poems that I want to present here. I see the mountain, it was milky white. I smell the mountain, it refreshed my breath and eyes. I taste the mountain, it gets love my bone. I hear the mountain, it was silent. Thank you very much.
Teachers are sharing their workshop experiences quite frankly with their students.
Oh, what's that? Instantly, my heart answered to the picture hanging on the wall. Oh, that is my pride, great Mount Everest, so high and high. Suddenly that thrilled me.
Riviera is lighting 100 candles to launch a 100 Views Kathmandu program. Over the coming weeks, children will be writing and painting and working towards a festival where their parents are able to share their work too. Programs like this one are important in helping change teaching practices, but the much-needed scholarships are the most powerful part of the work of Rebecca and Adam and the Mitrata Foundation, especially in a country like this one, where just going to school and learning to read and to write cannot be taken for granted. Just to get uniforms that are mandatory even in some small village schools can be too much of a struggle for families who are longing to see their children lifted out of a cycle of poverty. There are thousands more girls like Sangeeta and Sujana, and they need help. It costs $300 per year to educate one girl, books, uniforms, and sometimes hostel accommodation. Even a small amount donated to Mitrata can make a world of difference to a Nepali child's whole life. When you think of it, from the very rooftop of the world to a far-off country away down under, children and teachers can now actually share their celebrations of their 100 views. They can be part of building bridges to understanding, vital in enhancing tolerance in the world.
जुन हामीले यो कुरा सिकेका छौँ यसको ज्यादै ठुलो इम्पोर्टेन्स हाम्रो डेली टिचिङ लर्निङ एक्टिभिटिजमा चाहिँ यसको अप्लाई हुन्छ जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई। जस्तै हाम्रो सबै टिचरहरूले सिक्नु भएको छ हाउ टु राइट पोएट्री इन द सिम्पल वे, हाउ टु युज द वर्ड्स, हाउ टु प्ले विथ द वर्ड्स। सिमिलरली यो हाम्रो जुन डिफ्रेन्ट वेबाट हाम्रो आर्टको कुरा छ हैन, कलर मिक्सिङ गर्ने कुराहरू अनि ड्र गर्ने कुराहरू, यो पनि हामीले अथवा हामी सबै टिचरहरूले चाहिँ क्लासमा गएर हाम्रो बच्चाहरूलाई प्र्याक्टिकली सरल तरिकाले सिकाउँछौँ। यो चाहिँ हाम्रो लागि हाम्रो डे टु डे टिचिङ लर्निङ एक्टिभिटिजमा एकदम युजफुल छ, फ्रुटफुल छ र हेल्पफुल छ।
यो सिकेर हामीले हैन स्टुडेन्टलाई सिकाउने कोसिस गर्ने, जस्तै कि हामीले अहिले सिक्यौँ हैन, यहाँ ट्रेनिङ लिइसक्यौँ, त्यसपछि हामीले स्टुडेन्टलाई पनि त्यही हामीले लिएर हामीले स्टुडेन्टलाई अगाडि बढाउने कोसिस गर्छौँ।
No matter what you ask them to do, they never question it. They just get in there, and I think that if they can take that energy back to their classrooms, I think that will really start to change the way that they're teaching their kids.
I feel elated that I've had definitely warm responses from various teachers. I'll feel really good when I see it flows on into the classroom and that up on our website we're seeing the fruits of their labour, we're seeing the children's work, and we're having ongoing communications with Australian kids. That's when I'll feel really, really good. But I must say it's been a terrific interaction. They've been very giving. The teachers have been extremely giving and extremely responsive. You know, I can't sort of guess what's in their head, but just looking at the work that they've produced, I'd say by and large I'm happy. So now we're leaving this truly friendly school community with positive feelings about the literacy art happenings and the friendships we've enjoyed here over the past week, but with even stronger feelings about the importance of the Mitrata Foundation and the work Rebecca and Adam are doing in Nepal that has opened up the lives of children like Sangeeta and Sujana. With more help, perhaps yours, Mitrata has the potential to do so much more.